Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you don't know who this be, it's your girl Kyler B coming at you with a new video. So today we're going to be doing another recap. Yay! Recap, review, whatever. And it's going to be on the TV show You. Let me stop. But yeah, it's going to be on the TV show You. So You is a thriller, psychological thriller, it's a pretty decent show, I would say. I watched season 1 and season 2 around December, January-ish, Well, I just finished season 2 yesterday, so yeah, in that time period, so I heard about it like a year ago, but I just didn't want to see Penn Badgley, from Gossip Girl, being a stalker. But then again, it fits his character since he was Gossip Girl, so just like, it's not too much of a reach. It's, it's a little overboard than Gossip Girl, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, so I watched the show, and it was really season 1 was interesting. We have two different storylines going on. So Joe works at this in season 1. I'm going to be doing both season reviews. I'm going to go over season 1 pretty quickly because, season 1, it was good, but season 2 is better. You know what I'm saying? Season 2 is better. A quick review or refresh about season 1, recap, and then get into season 2. And then I'm going to do like a little analysis in between about these 2 seasons, So hope you guys stay tuned and enjoy. So in season 1, Joe works, he's basically the owner / not really the owner of this bookstore that he works in, but we can say he's kind of the owner. He has some ties and some connections. Okay. But yeah, so he works at this bookstore called Mooney's, and this girl Beck comes in because she's an English major, I believe, at NYU. So she was gonna find a book, and Joe got his glance on her, and as soon as he saw her, he was like, "Yeah, we're soulmates." He's on this love quest. From the first encounter, he finds all her, basic information, where she lives, her friends, her family, that type of thing, with her first encounter. So he found where she lived, and he stalked her outside of her window, and this girl does not have curtains, and she has this big old glass windows. Like, what are you doing? Like, people can stay across the street and just look at, like, you saw what Joe was doing across the street, looking through a window. Like, you need some curtains. But yeah, so she has these 3 friends: Peach, Annika, and Lynn. Peach, she's something. Annika, she's a decent friend. She has some flaws, and Lynn was just a 3rd friend. And then, so she has these 3 friends, and, they're like her little buddies and, little gossip girls in a sense. And Peach, kind of had more of a hold over Beck than the others. And she was more involved with her, I guess, because she was obsessed with Beck. And, she was obsessed with Beck. She likes Beck. But, so Beck was wasn't even dating. She was just with this dude called Benji. Joe didn't even have to kill him because Benji didn't even care about Beck. Like, she was just being used, So, like, you didn't even have to kill him because he didn't care about her. So, like, there was no need. He could have just been like, me and Beck are gonna be together. Like, can you just get out the way? But he decided to kill him, to lure him in a trap and then kill him, which was like, that was probably the most unnecessary death in both seasons, you know what I'm saying? Well, not both seasons, we're not there yet. So then we get to, so he killed Benji, which was unnecessary, in my opinion. Beck was kind of like going back and forth between, kind of flirting with Joe, and then she was just with Benji at some times. And then they started dating. He was going to like her functions with her friends and stuff like that, and then they started dating. And then when Joe tries to warn her about her friends and that Peach was manipulating her, she didn't want to listen. She was like, oh, she wouldn't do that, and blah, 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 and this and that. And she didn't want to believe it until something happens, and then she's like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't believe you, blah, 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 blah. I'm just like, girl, I mean, Joe may be crazy, but he is speaking facts, okay? So, anyhow, he finds out that, her dad that was dead wasn't so dead. She just has, like, a very rocky relationship with him, to say the least. Once, I thought that episode when Joe hit her with a brick behind her head, I thought she was gone, but old girl survived. And then she was like, let's go to Pierce. She was like, oh, let's go to Pierce, Beck, and blah, blah, blah. I'm just like, why are you going to go to Pierce? Like, if you really so hurt, you should stay where you at. Like, why are you going to go to Pierce? But anyway, I was like, oh, Joe got her. Then Peach being dead, it was mostly self-defense, because girl had a gun pointing at him. Then, they struggled with the gun, and then the gun went off, and then that's how she died. It wasn't like he intended to kill her, in that moment. He did intend to kill her with that brick. I will say. He did give her chances, because he was like, I'm gonna, see how it is with her friends, and then, Peach was just, going over the edge, and so he was like, I had it up to here. So he was like, I'm gonna kill her, So, but, she ended up surviving. And then, with the gunshot, it was a struggle, and then she ended up dying in the struggle. So, it wasn't really intended for her to die in that time. And I would just say Joe is very much a flop serial killer. Like, some of these kills or whatever, he doesn't even mean to do. It just happens. And it's just like, bruh, what are you doing? Now we have this storyline of Paco. Now, Paco is, if you see season 2, or if you saw season 2, you know that Paco basically reminds Joe of himself when he was younger. His mother was abused by a father figure, supposedly, because that was not Paco's father. The guy from season 2 most definitely wasn't Joe's biological father, so that's one of the reasons why Joe has a soft spot for neglected children. So, that's why he, cares about Paco, and he cares about Ellie in season 2, because they remind him of himself when he was younger. So, in Paco, his mother was with this, correction officer or whatever, parole officer, who's a former parole officer. Like, you're not a current parole officer, so chill. Like, you act like you're like a police officer. You're just a parole officer, and a former, to be exact. Like you acting like you were president or something, so she had to respect you. But he had some ties, and that's why the mother was, scared of him to go to police and to do any of that. So, Joe really cared about Paco. First episode, he didn't have nothing to eat. Joe gave him his whole entire sandwich, and then he opened his fridge, and he only had was a jar of mayonnaise. Like, he really cared, because dude only had a jar of mayonnaise and something else in his fridge. and he gave Paco his whole entire sandwich. You just paid for it. Like, you really cared. But yeah, in all seriousness, Paco, he was he had, he has a trouble, childhood with due to his mother. He still loves his mom, despite, everything that goes on, but, and he wants everything to be, just, and stuff like that, just having family. Another killing was, I think was Roy. I don't even know his name. It was Roy, probably. We're going to call him Roy. Roy was about to beat Paco, do something to Paco, he was about to do something. So, I mean, I wouldn't say he deserved what he got from Joe, because I don't think anyone really deserves to be killed, but dude was about to hurt Paco, so, I mean, it just sucks that Paco was, like, right there when it happened, when Joe killed him, but, it had to be done, yeah. So that was like the third killing in from the timeline in the show. Then we also have Marcus from a flashback, what happened with Candace. I would just say the whole Marcus situation was like, Candace, girl, you were cheating on him, and you just didn't even care. You were just like, oh, I cheated. I mean, I would just say, Joe, just leave her alone. She cheated on you, didn't even care, and then you were gonna run after her. You should have left her in the dust. Like, excuse me? What? But anyway, so she was cheating on Joe, and Beck was cheating on Joe too, and Beck tried to make it seem like Joe was crazy when Joe was like, so who you're texting, like, what are you doing? And then, oh no, I'm not doing that, I'm just mourning my friend, blah 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 blah. And then the 3 months passed, and as soon as Joe and Kathy or Katie was, being a solid and stable relationship, she decides to be like, oh, let me jump back into this and be like, I really miss Joe. And then you got Joe cheating on Katie, I forgot her name, it starts with a K. And then Joe cheating on her, and then Joe being like, oh, we're done, we're over with Kathy. But, Kathy had she was just like, nah, I'm just gonna pack my stuff and go. I don't need any of this. But then she really did tell Peck. She was like, excuse me? You don't know about Candace. Candace has something over him. And best believe, Candace really did. So, what happened to Beck, kind of sucks. Because Paco really set her up. Paco really had to be like, oh, I'm not speaking to Joe. And, oh, he has a secret hiding place in underneath the ceiling on the bathroom. I'm just like, why you have to tell it if it's a secret hiding place? Why are you telling Beck? Like, why are you telling Beck? So Beck being Beck, after she searched up everything about Candace, she had to search up everything about go find the secret hiding place, what Joe was hiding. And then she finds a thing that she doesn't want to find. And then, Joe had to be like, I'm going to put you in this cage. And then next thing you know, after Joe killed the Roy guy, and then, Paco was coming in and she heard Beck to get the door. She opened the door for Beck, and then as soon as Beck said Joe, she was like, Joe? And he closed it back just before she got strangled from Joe. I'm just like, that's so trauma, because the fact that you could have saved Beck, and as soon as she said Joe, you just like, oh, you said Beck? Close the door. Like, that was just like, okay, you and Joe are ride or die now, because you could have easily let Beck get out of that room, but he just closed the door in her face. And I mean, Beck didn't have to do all that. Beck was, as of a person, she was very basic, basic girl with some little issues, some issues here and there, father issues. She's friends with people that she didn't even want to be friends with. Like, what is that? Like, what are you doing? But that whole season, and then Candace shows up. Candace showing up was probably the biggest plot twist because everyone thought she was dead or Joe killed her, or something happened to her. And then she just shows up and she's like, we have unfinished business. I was just like, I'm so glad I started this season 1 like when I did, because what if I had to wait a whole entire year to get the little, oh, we have unfinished business, and to see season 2. I'm just like, that's it. But so now we're in season 2, and Joe is running away from love, so to speak, just to bump into love. Like, ironic, so he bumps into love. And then the fact that his whole little thing, you thought, like, the first episode, you thought this dude was changed. He thought he was a changed dude. Then he comes back and he's like, nah, I planned everything. The Crime and Punishment book I put on that desk, that was planned. Me talking to love, that was planned. Like, oh, I already had my secret identity, my fake identity, already sought out, all that stuff. That was planned. And I'm just like, whoa. I thought this dude was going to be like start over, start fresh, live in his little 1-bedroom, I think it's 1-bedroom apartment. But in season 2 was pretty funny because hearing Joe's thoughts was like probably the best part. Will Bettelheim, the real one, I think that was real growth. The fact that Joe like let him be free, Will Bettelheim has to be in season 3. That dude really, saw through Joe. He got through to Joe, got him to not kill him, so to speak, let him live and all that stuff. And he's not releasing his identity or what he did. So I mean, I have to give Joe some credit for having growth. And what happened to Delilah wasn't his fault. Like, he planned on having Delilah stay alive, but then you got love in this trying to killing her for what? Like, her whole purpose for killing her still doesn't even make sense to me. Because I'm like, girl was about to keep quiet. Like, she kept quiet about something else. Like, she could keep quiet about this. Like, you know what I'm saying? But the fact that love is just as crazy as her, it's just like, not love as crazy as him, it's just like, whoa, I did not expect that. That whole ending of season 2 was just like, it was just like that meme, like season 2 was just a whirlwind. 40 was very funny. Ellie and Delilah were pretty good characters, they deserved better, really. Joe had a lot of growth, and you actually get to see into Joe's, past. You get to see, what happened when he was younger and why he kind of is the way he is. They always, a lot of shows like to do that. They always like to show, the character as like this dark person, and the next season to kind of show the background, like, oh, why are you the way you are? Because of your childhood or your troubled past. So Candace is like, when Candace found him, I was just like, whoa, because I thought he really escaped Candace, but Candace like, nah, I found you because of that Henderson video. One of the reasons, this is why I say he's a flop killer, because how are you gonna kill Henderson? He wasn't even planning on killing Henderson, he just wanted him to go to jail. Dude literally lift his mask off his face to be like, oh, I'm not like you, and showed him his face. And then when Henderson got out of the chair, the handcuffs and whatnot, he accidentally pushed him down the stairs, and then he cracked his head open, and that's how he's dead. Like, what? I'm like, dude, you did not have to lift your mask. You could have just let that slide. No, I'm not like you, and then you end up killing the dude. And then Ellie's up there dated with the drugs that Henderson, dosed her with and whatnot. And I'm just like, dude, really? Now, the mobster, that whatever that was trying to kill him for that money. I mean, I didn't think he was gonna go all Dexter, on the dude, but I would say that dude was about to kill you. So I mean, you had to do what you had to do. Cause when that dude was like, "Oh, can I see your hand?" and then he chopped off his finger and put it in ice, and he was like, "You better give me my 75,000." I was just like, that was so unexpected and so quick. Like, what was going on? Love. My first reaction or impression of Love was that she just came on too strong. Like, she was just like, why are you not, liking me or whatever. She didn't really say that, but she was just like, oh, why isn't he like trying to be with Love or trying to be with her? And Joe was like, I'm just trying to stay clear of all that stuff. Like, I'm not trying to do all that right now. I'm trying to like stay clear of Candace and all that stuff and try to make sure my identity is safe. But then she was just like pressuring him and stuff like that. And then everyone, like, that was my thing, because I was like, when you look at Beck was just like, whatever. And then she was just like, yeah, let's be together, Joe. Or Will, in a sense. 40, he was probably the most interesting character. And 40 had like probably one of the best character developments in a season, to say the least, because he went from like Whirly to and always being on drugs or being whatever, to now like to find out he actually know what was going on behind the scenes in the end was just like, whoa. The fact that he know that Love actually killed the nanny, the fact that he cracked the code or cracked the book about that Joe was the one who actually killed Beck and stuff like that. I mean, that's like, whoa, like you thought he was dumb or like he didn't have all his marbles, you know what I'm saying? But dude was like, I know what's going on. It was kind of sad to see that he was like gonna kill Joe, and he was just like, I hate Joe, like from Joe being his best friend and the only one who, besides Love, caring about him, to I'm gonna shoot you. And then Officer Fincher was like, ugh. He was just like, I'm gonna take him out. It was kind of sad, because I was just like, 40 was actually a pretty decent character. Kind of sad what happened to Ellie, because his relationship with Ellie was like, pretty nice. And then the fact that she was like, I don't like you anymore. She said, I hate you. And all that stuff. And I'm just like, I mean, he kind of deserves it. I mean, in a sense. But he didn't kill Delilah. And Delilah was the only family member to really take care of her, besides the mother. But she doesn't want to live with her. So, like, she has to be on the run and try to have her own life. He killed the mobster and then Henderson. Yeah, that was it. And then it was shocked me when she like literally stabbed Candace. But I'm just like, I mean, all Candace really wanted was just someone to say that she wasn't crazy. That's basically what she really wanted, and she wanted someone to prove it to, because she could have easily called the cops, but she wanted to prove it to Love, and then she was like, oh, Love, you call the cops, blah blah blah. And it was like, I mean, it's nice that she wanted her to have that option, but if you really wanted him to pay, you should have just called the cops right there. Joe was getting a breakthrough at that episode too, because dude was like, I deserve to, be here. I deserve to go to jail. And he was being acceptant of what's going to happen to him. So that was like, a good, good for him. Him realizing that I mean, he knows what he's doing is bad, but I mean, somebody gotta help him. Also, the fact that Love is pregnant and Joe's about to be a father, and then the end of this episode of the season, he's like, "Hello, neighbor." Like, dude, you about to have a child, and then you talking about hello, neighbor. So what are you gonna do? We're gonna have you always wanted to have this perfect family and whatnot, but then you're gonna be like, oh no, I'm gonna, leave my prego girlfriend, because they're not married, to come pursue this neighbor. Like, dude, you could have just had what you want. You could have had what you wanted, and then now you wanted to go pursue a neighbor. Like, what? I'm like, dude, like, whoever made that show, whoever had that ending, why? But I mean, to keep the show continuing on, it made sense. But some lasting things, like the whole old sport that 40 used to say to Joe, that was like, I always just remember The Great Gatsby, him always living in the past and always digging up the past and all that stuff. So that was like one of the, obvious things or recurring themes in the show. The like reliving the past in Great Gatsby. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoy this recap, and I hope you guys like the video. If you like the video, comment down below and let me know what you guys think in the comments. And subscribe to my channel if you have not subscribed.